Hi guys, welcome to Players to the Core. The old rumour mill is already well underway after Crystal Palace sacked Patrick Vieira. Now I'm going to just give you my thoughts on that first, and then I'll give you some odds on who they think will be the next Crystal Palace manager. First of all, thank you for all the comments that I've had on the video I did this morning about his sacking. It's great to hear so many different opinions about the situation. Personally, I think that the board should have supported him more. I think he mentioned in a couple of press conferences that he needed more support. He needed more players to come in. For whatever reason, the board perhaps didn't give him the money that he wanted, or didn't want to get the players he wanted, or whatever it might have been. I think there have been problems going on behind the scenes for some time. It looks as though you read into things sometimes and you think that's a little bit odd. Um, you get Patrick Vieira saying that he needs more players, and then you get Steve Parish saying that we're just going to get loanies in January and we're not going to be looking to buy anyone specifically. So it could have been there's been problems going on for a little while, and it's a shame that it's happened. I think that a change needed to be made, not necessarily with Vieira going, but I think a change needed to be made to get us back into winning ways again. I think obviously the club are very understanding of the fact that we're 3 points away from relegation zone, and we need to get back into a more confident, more positive way of play. I think we've got very negative over the last few games in terms of how we play, and we need to get a bit more positivity back into that. So hopefully, the interim manager, whoever that is, they still haven't announced who an interim manager will be yet. Maybe because they're already getting a next manager coming very quickly, perhaps. We don't know. And I'll go through some of the list of managers who they think is going to be the case. But as soon as they announce who an interim manager is or anything like that, then of course I will let you know. So don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with all the news going on around this at the moment. We've got a very tough game coming up against Arsenal, and I think that we need to have somebody in place who's going to get the best out of us for this game, because it's going to be a very important game for us going forward. I know we've got a lot of teams around us after that, a lot of fixtures against teams around us, so hopefully that will we'll have somebody in place either temporarily or permanently who can focus the squad and get the best out of those games that we could possibly can. Okay, so I'm going to go through on in the Daily Mail. There's a list by Paddy Power about the odds on the next Crystal Palace manager, and it's interesting reading because they've got Roy Hodgson as the favourite, 5-4, of being the next manager. Now I like Roy Hodgson. I don't think he had a bad run as people made out. I don't think he should come back though. I think we need a manager who can rebuild the team. I think we need a manager who can be progressive and get that energy and that determination, that steel back into our team again that we've been lacking lately. I think we need a manager who can do that and can be a long-term appointment. I don't think that Roy Hodgson might be the person temporarily to the end of the season. They might be thinking that. Personally, though, I think we should go for someone that we're going to look to do permanent acquisition, so that we can keep moving the team forward and build on what we did last year, and hopefully gets a few more players coming in. I think a lot of this is going to be down to money. I think a lot of these managers are going to be like, well, what money have I got? Yeah, okay, I might be able to keep you up in this season, but next season, what about, are we going to have any money to buy players that next season? So I think that's going to be an issue that a lot of managers are going to be delving into before they think about taking on the job. You've got Lucien Favre, second favourite with 11-2. Jesse Marsh, 15-2. I mean, not bad. They could possibly do a good job for us. Rafael Benitez is fifth favourite with 10-1. I really don't think Benitez can do it for us. But Nuno Espirito Santo, 11-1. Now, of course, he was spoken to previously before we appointed Patrick Vieira. He was spoken to by Crystal Palace a couple of times. So possibility that he could be the next one. Although he didn't really do that well at Wolves, so we'll have to wait and see for that. You've also got Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, Mauricio Pochettino in there as well. I don't think Lampard or Steven Gerrard will come to Crystal Palace. I think that they want a team that's going to have money to spend, and I don't think that's going to be us. I don't think they're going to come here. I mean, Frank Lampard already said before Patrick Vieira's appointment that he thought that he didn't want to get involved in a relegation battle, so I don't see why he would come now to get involved in a relegation battle. Some interesting ones on here as well. Alan Pardew's on the list, but I don't think he should come back either. I don't think we should get Alan Pardew back. I mean, yeah, he had a good spell, and then it went flat. You know, just as well, just like Patrick Vieira, he had a good spell, and then it went flat. And I think it happens when they try then to impose their own beliefs and their own style of play onto the team that doesn't really suit that. But that's just my opinion anyway. Sam Allardyce is on the list. I think that he may return to help us. Maybe he might return to help us just to the end of the season. I think he would certainly be a good person to steady the ship and get best results out of us. I don't think he'll be a long-term acquisition if that happens. You've also got Roy Keane at 50 to 1. Well, he also certainly adds some steel to the team, but I'm not entirely sure he would take the job. You've got Michael Carrick at 22 to 1. I don't think he'll leave, but I think he's very happy where he is at the moment. And you've also got, who was the other person I was going to talk about? Thomas Tuchel, 33 to 1. Now, I don't think Thomas Tuchel will come to Crystal Palace, but if he does, I think he might be a good acquisition. I think that, you know, if we did manage to get him, I think he would be a good manager for us. But I think this all depends on a few things, on obviously on who wants the job. Who wants the job? I think we need to get someone who's going to be a long-term person, someone who's going to move forward with the club. I don't think that any of the big name managers will want the job. To be honest with you, I really don't. I think that, you know, we had a hard enough job before trying to get a good manager, and Patrick Vieira came in and did a good job for the first year. But you know, we were having trouble getting hold of a manager with any kind of, you know, pedigree the last time. So now I don't think we're going to happen. I don't think we're necessarily going to have the opportunity now either. But you know, as long as we get someone in who can get us playing the way we used to play, you know, a bit more of aggression, a bit more speed, a bit more pace in the game. Someone who can bring in some of the young players. I know one of the comments in the video was that, you know, bring in young players, get them in the team. And I think as a short term measure, why not? You know, if you need to score goals, yes, these players are young, and you don't want to bring them in too early. But at the same time, they're scoring goals for their championship side clubs. Raksaki, for example, and players like that. So I don't see why you can't just bring them in for the last part of the season and just say, look, go out there and do what you can, because it's not going to be any worse than what we've got now, and we might even score a few goals out of it. So I think that, you know, it could be worth taking a risk and doing that. We'll have to wait and see. It depends on what the manager who comes in thinks about it. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on who you think will be the next manager, or who would you like if you could have any manager. Who would you have come in to take over at Crystal Palace? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments as always, and thank you for joining me.